Welcome back, 3D students. In this video I'm going to show you how to make some more intricate towers. So I'm going to hit Alt-W and expand my perspective viewport here. Remember, Alt-W expands and collapses your viewports, and it expands whichever view you have your cursor on. So notice I've created some more cylinders here. This is the same tower that this is. It's just a fatter cylinder. It has a bigger radius. And I thought that I could create this and then maybe take this and put it on top. So I'm going to use the Align tool, and the Align tool can be found right here in your toolbar. And if you click and hold, you'll see there are other alignment tools right here. I'm going to use the Quick Align, which is the one with the little lightning bolt on it. I'm going to select my small tower, and then I'm going to select my big one and click it, and that aligns it by pivot point with my big tower. And then I'm just going to stick that right on top. And that looks pretty cool. I could also scale it down some by using the scale tool. I can scale it in the Z-axis just to make it look a little different. Now with this one, I thought I would show you how to make sort of a two-tiered tower. So here what we're going to do is I'm going to take this cylinder and copy it. I'm going to hold down Shift with the Move tool selected and create a copy by moving it up in the Z-axis. Set it right on top there and click OK. And then I'm going to change the height a little bit, maybe about like that. And I'm going to change the radius so it's bigger than the other one. And you can see what we get right here. So this might be sort of a wider place where people might live. And then, of course, we could do the same thing with this one. We could put an edit poly on it, go to polygon mode, click this one, hold down Control, double click the one next to it, extrude those up with our Shift Move technique, and then we can select every other one. I'm going to turn off my Move tool by hitting Q on my keyboard so I don't accidentally move anything this time. Switch back to my Move tool by hitting W and hold down Shift and move those up. And we can do the same thing here. I'm going to turn off my Move tool by hitting Q, but we can extrude these downward. Get my Move tool, hold down Shift and extrude those down. And then I can go to Edge mode and select the edge of every one of those I just extruded. Again, I'm going to turn my Move tool off by pushing Q on my keyboard. Now see, I accidentally selected something there. I don't know what, but I selected something, so I'm going to hit Control Z and undo that until I get back to this one. I just did it again. And then we can take these, get the Move tool, and move them up to sort of taper that whole thing. See, there's that one I selected by accident. So I'm going to hold down Alt, deselect that one, and just move these up. I'm not holding down Shift, I'm just moving them to taper them like that. And check and make sure there's nothing else wrong with it. And then of course we can also put windows in here just like we did last time. And you can see this right here. Right here, this is where I had an edge selected accidentally. So to fix this right here, I can hit Control Z a bunch of times until I get back to where that was. But anyway, so you saw how I did that. Now we can also taper these towers. I can click on the tower and I can add a taper modifier to it. These things are alphabetical. So I'm going to get taper, and the amount, I can taper it like that. There's also a curve setting here. I can curve it and make it look really cool like that. You know, and this doesn't have to be there. You can just have a tower that looks like that with a smaller one on top. We can have something like this, and then have the bottom be straight like that. And then of course we can do the same thing with a square tower. I can copy this up like this, stick it on top. Now I've already put an edit poly on this, but I can just use my scale tool to size it. I can scale it kind of like that and then size it like that. So I can do something that looks like that. And then on the top, to extrude the battlements, I would select all of these and extrude them up. So I'm going to turn off my move tool by hitting Q. I'm going to select one, and then I'm going to double click and hold down Control and double click the one on the next row. And then I'm going to double click on this one and see what that doesn't work. There you go. Now you get the move tool, hold down Shift, extrude these upward. And then now for these, what I like to do is select the corners. And then select every one in between. Now the way to make that work out is to make sure that you have an odd number of segments, not an even number, for the top of a square tower, so you can have these corners. Now notice I accidentally selected a whole bunch of polygons here, so I'm rotating around to see if I selected anything by accident, and then I'm going to hold down Alt and deselect the ones that I didn't mean to select. And this is a common thing that happens. You just need to check before you extrude. Make sure you didn't select anything you didn't mean to. And then of course we can get the move tool. Now see how the move tool is not at the top? It should be right at the top here. That means I have selected polygons somewhere in here. So to make sure, I'm going to zoom out and hold down Alt, and I'm going to draw a selection box like that. And that should deselect anything that I can't see. And then I'm going to hold down Shift and extrude my crenellations. Now I know this video is getting kind of long, but I want to show you one more thing. You can also make a roof by using a cone. And you can click and drag, and then click again and drag, and then click and right click to finish. That's how you make a cone. And I'm going to quick align this cone to this tower and stick it up here like this. Then I'm going to adjust using the parameters. I'm going to adjust its height and its width and stuff. I'm going to give it some height segments because what I want to do is taper this again. So I'm going to add a taper modifier. And I'm just going to use the curve so I can curve it in like that. And that looks pretty neat. Now I'm going to go back to this level here, and I'm going to add a cap segment. I'm going to give it 3 cap segments so that I can have these on the outside. Then I'm going to add an edit poly, and I'm going to click one, hold down Control, double click the next one, and I'm going to extrude those down like that. And then of course we could do something like this, you know, like that to make it look different, and so forth and so on. So there's all kinds of things you can do. Go back to the taper modifier. To create a square roof, you would use a pyramid. And you can see what that looks like. And I just used the shortcut for the quick align tool, which is Shift A. And then we could come in here and change the width and the height of the pyramid itself to get it correct. Could give it some height segments and put a taper on it. Oh, cool. So the curve doesn't matter there. Let's try that with this. There you go. Now to make an onion dome, like you might find in, Asian or Russian countries, you can do the taper like that. And that makes another really interesting roof. Okay, this video is drawn on way too long, but I think you've got some really good ideas here that you can work with on your towers. And, one more thing. You can also take a tower, make it small, and you can put it on the corner of one of your battlements or your buildings to make it kind of look like it's inset in there like that. Of course, you would not delete the bottom of it like I did that one, but that's another thing you can do. Kind of like that. And then you could copy them over to each corner and so forth. Okay, so that's how you make a number of different towers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and in the next video, we'll talk about how to texture all these things. And I'll see you then.